On April 25, 1976, two protesters ran out onto the field of Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles and attempted to soak an American flag in lighter fluid and set it ablaze. Chicago Cubs player Rick Monday saw what they were up to, charged at the men, grabbed the flag, and took it away before they were successfully able to light it. The question is, according to the U.S. Constitution, would those men have been guilty of burning the flag as a criminal offense had they succeeded? According to the current interpretation of U.S. law, no. Near the end of the 19th century, individual states started taking action to make it illegal to desecrate a flag, to mark it, or otherwise use it for commercial purposes. One example of an early such challenge was a company that sold beer, Stars and Stripes beer, and they used the American flag as part of their logo. The court said you're not allowed to do that. The real landmark case that started to change things was in 1931 Stromberg v. California. At issue once again was flag desecration, and the court overturned a conviction allowing for, quote, expressive conduct, which is more commonly known as symbolic speech. And this is a huge part of First Amendment interpretation, so it was actually a flag desecration case that gave us the modern understanding of symbolic speech. That is the fact that you don't have to necessarily be verbally expressing yourself in order to come under First Amendment protection. Through the 1960s and the Vietnam War era, protests were in full swing, including flag burning. In 1968, Congress passed the federal flag desecration law. Fast forward to the 1980s, when we really get to the big cases that settled this issue constitutionally until today. The big case of 1989 was Texas versus Johnson. Gregory Lee Johnson had gone to the Republican National Convention a few years earlier and burned a flag very publicly and was convicted underneath a Texas statute that forbid desecrating a flag. Eventually the case went all the way to the Supreme Court, who overturned the conviction in a controversial 5-4 vote. In response, Congress passed the Flag Protection Act, hoping to seal up the fact that you could never burn a flag. As soon as that law hit the books, some protesters ran right out to burn a flag in public and challenge it. Johnson, from the previous case, wanted to be in on it, but the police grabbed him and prevented him from lighting his flag. About 4 others did get their flag burning, and they were arrested. That led to the 1990 case U.S. v. Eichman, in which the Supreme Court now overturned the congressional law, saying that the First Amendment protected symbolic speech, although distasteful or even offensive, that Americans had the right to express themselves in this way. Back to Dodger Stadium in 1976, by today's standards, those men would not have been guilty of flag desecration. However, they were guilty of trespassing. It's just as illegal today to run onto a baseball field. And the same lesson was learned by the 4 protesters in U.S. v. Eichman. Sure, they got away with burning the flag, but the knuckleheads stole the flag from a U.S. post office and had to plead guilty to destruction of government property. If you have questions or topics you'd like to see covered in a future video, just leave it in the comments. This creates a constitutional law playlist now. We're going to cover the amendments and many more issues in constitutional history. And as always, subscribe to see when new videos are uploaded.